Hi, I'm Mike. It's 2:30 a.m. I just got back from checking cows. They're out there calving, and luckily, nothing is going on right now. We have to go back out and check in 2 more hours, so there's no point in going back to sleep. So let's get started on the project list on our Wyoming Life. Welcome to our Wyoming Life and our continuing undertaking to explore the ranch life and escape the ordinary. If this is your first time here, please subscribe as we bring you everything from the ranch, from livestock to gardening to ranch-style cooking, and of course, projects that always need done. Behind me is the project list. Each week, I get to bring you along as we tackle 1 or 2 projects off the board, and we also add to it. The project list is never ending. I like to call it job security. And lately, we work on it when we can. Calving is starting here on the ranch, and checking the cows and heifers is an occurrence that has to happen every few hours around here, day and night, 24/7. Nights like tonight are a common occurrence as well. I managed to get some sleep from about 10 until 2 a.m., and then I went out and checked all the cows. There's not much going on out there. It's down in the teens for temperature-wise, and there's about 6 inches of snow on the ground. And luckily, it has stopped snowing, and tomorrow the temperatures are supposed to start going back up. Going back to bed is always an option, but we have one project looming over our heads that needs done. And that's what we're going to do tonight. A couple of days ago, our Bale Unroller broke. We use it to feed the cows every single day, and it lays the hay out into a nice row for the cows to eat. Years of use on this piece of equipment have finally caught up to it, and a hinge on one of the spooler arms broke right at the hinge. Because of this, I actually fed yesterday with the tractor without an unroller, which was a huge pain. Rolling the bales out with the bucket on the tractor, which really didn't work too well in the snow as the bales just kind of slid along. They didn't roll very well. I'm happy to give up a few hours of sleep tonight to hopefully be able to get this thing done and back up and running properly for tomorrow's feeding, or today's feeding. In order to weld this arm back together, the first thing we're going to have to do is get this thing apart. We'll start with disconnecting the hydraulic cylinder that moves the arms open and closed around a bale. The hydraulic is linked to the arm, and by removing this pin, we can get the cylinder separated. The other end of this link arm is stuck on the arm of the unroller by another pin. This pin is bent, and it'll take a little bit more to get it out. We'll tackle that once we have the arm off. The arm is hinged on the main bar of the spooler with a huge bolt, and using a 1 13/16 inch wrench, we can hold one end, and we can use a pipe wrench to remove the nut. We continue disassembling and get the arm free of the main implement. We're going to need the broken portion of the hinge, so let's remove that as well, and then get ready to move everything over to an area where we can get to welding. The hinge basically has 2 ears, and one thing I didn't anticipate is that not only is one ear broken completely off, the other end is actually bent pretty drastically as well. We're going to have to figure out how to straighten that in order to get this thing mounted back on straight, and also keep it from breaking again. Every day, I always have this moment somewhere on the ranch where I have to pause and think about how I'm going to do something I've never done before. Normally in this situation, I would try to use our oxyacetylene torch to heat up the piece of metal and then try to hammer it back straight. Unfortunately, I'm out of oxygen for my torch set. And given the time, now past 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm not going to be able to get any. My backup plan is a propane torch. Given enough time, my hope is that the metal will become malleable enough to bend back into place. After a half an hour of heat, I'm able to use a sledgehammer to beat the metal into submission and get something that looks kind of straight. Close enough. Now we can try to weld the other ear back on and get the arm back on the spooler. Using a couple of magnets to hold it in place, I can temporarily weld the seam. The reason I'm doing this is that I want to just hold it there while I take the whole thing over to test fit it on the main bracket and make sure it's going to go back on. If I weld it completely and it doesn't fit, I'm going to be in a bigger mess than I am now. So testing at this point is critical. After fitting it in place, or close where I need it anyway, I can now take a grinder to the seam that we're going to be welding and clean it up a bit, removing paint and material that may make our weld less solid. Then it's time to weld for real, laying a bead across the entire seam. I'm not a professional welder. In fact, I've been dubbed the world's okayest welder, and that's a title that I'll take. Welding on the ranch is a common occurrence, and something that you have to know how to do, but by no means am I an expert. And after running a weld across the seam, then cleaning it up a little bit, I'm pretty happy with what I've done. With our hinge now back in place, we can get our hinge bolt back in and start putting this thing back together. But while I'm doing that, I notice the other arm has the same break. This time on the bottom, where I didn't see it initially. So we get to flip the whole thing over. It's a bit awkward, and the website of the company that makes this unroller says it weighs 285 pounds, and that's not including the hydraulic cylinder, so let's call it 300. Rolling it over also makes me a bit nervous about the weld we just completed, but I guess if it can't handle banging around a little bit now, it's not going to be able to handle a 1,500-pound bale in the morning, so that nervousness quickly fades. After rolling it over, we can see what we're dealing with, and it's now past 4:30 a.m. and rather than take this whole arm apart like the other one, let's just weld it in place. I'm not sure if this is a good idea, but I would like to be using this thing in just a few hours, so let's go for it. Again, we grind the area clean, then get to welding, laying down another bead of weld that follows almost the exact same break as the other one. Obviously, this is where a bulk of the weight is carried on this thing, and hopefully our welds hold. With the welding now complete, I don't see any more breaks on the thing. We can now get it mounted back onto the tractor, muscling it into place, getting our latch pins in place, which just leaves our top link. Being alone, this can be a tricky one, but by blocking up the spindle end of the spooler, we can push the pin in place, and now it's attached to the tractor 3-point hitch. Then we hook the hydraulic cylinder back up and reattach the linkages to the arms of the machine. Hydraulic lines are attached to the tractor as well, and we're ready for a test run. So far, so good. All right, now I'm going to call this complete until testing. We'll see how it works. It's now 5:17. I'm going to go out and check cows one more time, then I'm going to sneak in the house and get a couple hours sleep, maybe. And then we'll be back to continue the project list. After a couple hours of sleep, we're back at it. But before we go feed, we have a quick problem that we have to deal with. This heifer has just had her calf, and she seems really confused on what to do with it and how to act. She is paying some attention to it, but with the wet snow and the cold temperatures, we make the decision to move her and her calf inside the barn. Not only getting the calf inside and onto some clean, dry bedding, but also closing her in with him and forcing some bonding between the two. The calf is carried into the barn and laid down. An overhead heater is kicked on, and I can dry the calf just a little bit. I don't want to dry it off all the way. I want the mom to still lick her calf clean, but I'll get rid of some of the dirt. With the calf comfortable, in comes mom, and they're locked in together, where hopefully they will bond and get to know each other a whole lot better. With that chore complete, we can now go out and feed the cows, testing our newly rebuilt spooler, and hopefully not ending up with a pile of scrap metal when we try to pick up our first bale. Last night I was thinking about the work this Bale Unroller has seen. It's been on the ranch for about 10 years, 10 winters of feeding. We feed about 400 tons of hay over a single winter, or around 540 bales. Over 10 years, this spooler has potentially rolled out 5,400 bales, or almost 8 million pounds of hay. This is a hard-working little machine. No wonder it fell apart. In all reality, I need it to hold out for a few more weeks. As spring approaches and the grass begins to grow, and once it does, the cows will start turning their nose up at the hay that I put out for them. By that time, we'll have all summer to repair or come up with another solution for the spooler. Here we go. Cross your fingers. So far, so good. We have 1,500 pounds off the ground. Now we go roll it out and test how much the Bale Unroller 2.0 can take. The cows arrive for breakfast, the bale unrolls, and my heart jumps a beat every time we hit a bump. But we keep going, unrolling and bouncing across the field, and everything holds. I'm redubbing this the little spooler that could. 8 million pounds of hay, enough to feed over 250,000 cows for one day. Granted that we spread it out over 10 years, but I'm still impressed. Heading back into the shop, we can take a look. Every weld has held. No signs of cracking. And apparently, we're back into business. I'm a little impressed with myself, too. Like I said, I'm not a professional when it comes to welding. But there's a certain pride that you can take in a job well done. A problem presented itself and we fixed it. We could have went and spent $1,000 and got a brand new spooler, saving some work, maybe a little bit of stress as we picked up that first bale after welding it. But for me, having a nice new shiny piece of equipment is no comparison to taking something that's been here for years and making it work again. It doesn't need an upgrade. If we got a new one, it would be the same exact thing. So why not make this one work? Every time we use it, we know it's here because we put some sweat into it. We skinned our knuckles and we lost a little sleep. On the flip side, I guess, if it breaks, we know why. Thanks for coming along with me today as we got an almost essential tool back up and running on the ranch. You guessed it, I'm off to check the cows again, but I'm filled with a good energy from a job well done. Speaking of energy, if you're ready for another giveaway from Our Wyoming Life, then make sure that you pop into our live stream on Thursday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. We'll be giving away Our Wyoming Life merchandise, t-shirts, coffee mugs, and who knows what else to some lucky attendees. You have to be there to win, so come see us and get a chance to sit down and talk face to face, so to speak. Those cows are calling my name, so I'm off once again. Hopefully I'll see you on Thursday, but until then, have a great week, and thanks for joining us in Our Wyoming Life.